So welcome back to another lecture of powder metallurgy MT407, and for today's lecture we are going to discuss about powder treatment and its handling. So far in the previous lectures we have discussed what is physical method and what is chemical method and how we are able to make powders out of that. And for today we will be dealing more on how to treat, how to handle and what are the treatments behind powder process. And the powder can be prepared by various means like subject to varieties of treatments to improve and modify the physical and its chemical characteristics. For example, wet powders are dried in order to avoid problems during subsequent processing of sintering. Sintering can be done at a higher temperature, so we have to get rid of the uh, wet moisture in other powder, and this is a kind of treatment process we normally do. And this in this powder can be broadly classified into two types, and the major groups are elemental as well as pre-alloyed. And from the name itself, the elemental powder refers to the powders of a single metallic element, whereas the pre-alloyed powder consists of more than one element or made by alloying elements, elemental powder during the manufacturing process. For the elemental process, we have the example like iron. This is the best example, since that particular iron is magnetic in nature, so we can use that for the magnetic applications. And these are the broadly we can classify into elemental as pre-alloyed condition. So the main aim of powder metallurgy is that we have to make this powder into a compacted structure. So we already know that majority of the powder have to be subjected to one or more treatments and prior to compaction, because the further process is compaction. So before that the powder have to be treated, and this treatment are specific to a particular powder and may include wide varieties of or wide ranges of treatment can be done on a powder. And they are listed as follows: that is the drying to remove moisture, as we seen in the previous example, and next is the grinding and crushing to obtain the final structure. We know that the process should not the powder should not like a powder agglomerates. This is an example because we don't want the process the powder to be coarser in structure, so we have to get rid of the coarser lumps into finer bits. And the particle size classification to obtain the desired particle size distribution, and annealing to improve compaction, mixing of different powder for pre-mixes, and blending of the powder and powder mixes to obtain a homogeneous mix. We have to ensure all this treatment process before going into compaction, like a homogenized mix should be there, and annealing to improve the compaction process. And we have to make sure that all our particles have a certain size of our desired property to in order to have an enhanced property. And there is a last 2 points like that lubricant added for the compaction of the powder and the powder coating. These are the topics we are going to discuss further in this particular video. So next is an important topic when it comes to powder metallurgy, that is the cleaning of the powder. Cleaning of powder can be refers to removal of the contaminants, that is the unwanted particles or unwanted things in the powder, like the solid or the gaseous form from the powder. And particularly important in the case of high strength parts requiring good fatigue or creep properties in turbine blade. That is an example because for high end applications like the turbine blades, the final product should be having a specific property. So in order to enhance that property, we have to make sure that we are using a high grade powder. So that is shown there, that is the high strength parts requires very good quality powders required, because we have to avoid fatigue as well as creep. And next comes the solid particulates contaminates, comes from several sources like the nozzles or crucible lining. So as you know, we have done several process before coming into the final combustion process. So process like atomization. So during when we do those processes, there are chances like the contamination will be getting into trapped into our powder material. So we have to get rid of this process in order to ensure better quality. Interference with compaction and sintering, preventing proper mechanical bonding. So these are the problems related to contamination, that is interfering with the compaction process, sintering process, and preventing proper mechanical bonding. We have to make sure that the powder is entirely clean. These refractory particles through non-reactive act as a site for crack nucleation. So how the mechanical property is being getting reduced if you contaminate our powder. The reason is that the crack in nucleations. The crack will be produced in our particular final product, and this will ultimately end up in some catastrophic failures, and we have to make sure that this won't happen in our product, and that's the reason why we have to remove the contaminants. Particle separators as well as electrostatic separator techniques as used to remove the non-metallic particles from the super alloyed powders. So there is a technique how to eliminate these contaminants. That is, particle separators can be used, electrostatic separator technique can be used to remove the metallic powder. Moving on, we have further problems related to powder contaminations, like gaseous impurity can be get into this powder, like the hydrogen and the oxygen during processing, storage or handling, and we have to remove these gases, and we have a process called degassing techniques, like a cold and hot static degassing. That's a method in order to remove hydrogen and oxygen in this powder, and we have a hot dynamic degassing technique to remove the absorbed gases from the powder. There is a condition like finer the powder becomes, more will be the level of contamination. So when we reduce the particle size to finer, there are chances like it getting contaminated. The chances are very high. So we have a different kind of contamination like lubricants. Lubricants are used in order to make the compaction more easily, or to make the dye removal process more easy. So this lubricant can be also considered to be a contaminant, but added to powder to facilitate compaction process. If not removed properly, this can be also lead to some problem when it comes to sintering process. So we have to make sure that that process also done in a proper manner. Next we have grinding, which is also considered to be as a treatment process of powder, because the primary aim of grinding is for comminution of the powder, that nothing but reducing the size. Grinding is accomplished using varieties of equipment such as ball mill, attrition mills, and the reason for milling is widely used for reducing the aggregates or agglomerates of the powder. So that is that's why we go for milling, and it is also considered to be as a treatment process. Milling can be carried out in wet as well as dry condition. So after grinding process comes the screening process. The reason for doing screening is in order to ensure that there is a uniform property of particles in the cinder part. We have to make sure that all the particles have a certain size, desired size, and that's why we go for screening operations. Generally, powder production process yield a wide band of particle size distribution. We have to draw the particle size distribution curves, and we need to find out what is the desired particle size required for our sintering operations. So this is also considered to be as a treatment process. Now comes the most important topic for today's discussion, that is the blending and mixing operations. Blending and mixing powder ensure that there is a uniform distribution of different constituents like powder, additives and lubricants. So all the lubricants, additives and the powder are mixed all together for the compaction process, and after this compaction we go for the sintering operation. So this is the basic idea of powder metallurgy. So we have to make sure that there is a proper mixing and blending is happening on the powder. Segregation of different components of fine or coarser particles occur during transportation and filling operations. So blending is nothing but is a process in which powders of same or a normal composition having different particle size are intermingled. That is the mixing operation. That is the mixing of different particle size and different compositions, and mix it all together into a one single unit. Blending and mixing are often carried out in a controlled condition, that is an inert atmosphere. Why we are going for inert atmosphere? We have to get rid of contaminants. As we seen in the previous slide, that we should make sure that our powder is of high quality, and to avoid the contamination of the powder, and this is carried out in an inert atmosphere. So we have a 2 point here. To obtain a uniform distribution of particle size, powder consists of different particle size are often blended to minimize porosity. For intermingling of lubricants with powder to modify metal powder interaction during compaction and facilitate the compaction process. So what is the gist of all this blending and operation is that we have to make sure that the powder after compaction they ensure that a certain property, and we should make sure that by proper mixing and blending. When compared with blending operation, mixing is the process of combining powders of different chemistries, such as elemental powders of copper or tin, or a metal or a non-metal. Best example is the friction material, like the brake shoe. Uh, this is the best example for mixing operation. Powder mixers are generally preferred because of the lower cost, and it's a cheap process. And the mixing of various materials and making them into final finished product, that would be otherwise difficult to impossible to make. So some impossible or difficult process can be otherwise being difficult can be done by mixing operation. In mixing, additives like graphites and lubricants are also used to obtain a homogeneous mixture. So that was an objective, that we have to make sure that there is a homogeneous mixture before compaction process. Because of that, a mixing operation is must before compaction. It's a must process before compaction of powders, except in the cases where single elemental powder, as in the classification we have said in the previous slide. In cases of a single elemental powder, we never go for this mixing operation because everything is in a homogenized structure. Why we go for mixing is that when it comes to two or different type of material having different nature, we go for mixing. And in case of mixing of two or more metal powder, particle characterizations like size and size distribution plays an important role in influencing the degree of mixing. So degree of mixing is dependent upon the particle characteristics like the particle size and size distribution. So when it comes to the classification of mixing, we have dry and wet conditions. Wet condition means it is used to produce more fine and uniform mixture. So in terms of fine mixtures, we go for wet mixing. Uh, since the term wet means there is a liquid medium, and we are using some example like alcohol, acetones, benzene, or distilled water can be used in order to enhance wetting with wet mixing, are used in the milling medium in the wet mills. And when it comes to the dry operation, we have the ball and as well as rod mills are employed for extensively for mixing of hard metals such as carbides. So in general, we have the different type of mixtures, that is the double corn mixtures. The V mixtures are the most popular in comes to when it comes to for blending as mixing operations. Spray drying is also used for mixing of constituents in the case of oxide dispersed strengthened alloy or cementite carbides. So this is also a process called spray drying we use for cementite carbides or strengthened alloys. So this particular video will explain double corn mixture, and this video is possible by Inoxpa. This particular video is available in YouTube. So we have the setup of double corn mixture here. The operation of double corn is shown here. The corn blender is placed at the loading position, and we have the process starting. The vacuum is switched on. We have to give the feed. Automatic suction will be provided in the hooper, and the material will be moving on, and the automatic suction of the solid from manual load will happen, and this is the loading of the particles or the material into the mixture. And we have the second solid particle coming up of a different color shown here, the red. We have the second constituent material coming up. Here we are using different kind of weighing process. All this process is carried out in using suction. Now we got the third material over the second material. So now we have the three layers of different materials. So here comes the process how the double corn mixers will be mixing the particle all together. So you can observe the rotational movement happening in the double corn mixture, how the particles are being mixing together in a uniform homogeneous manner. So when it comes to wet process, we are injecting of liquid. As we mentioned earlier, we are intentionally injecting liquid in order to make the process more finer. Blender is placed at the discharge position. This is the discharge position, and the final mix is being discharged to this particular outlet. Again, the vacuum pump is switched on. This will ensure that the process is carried out in a inert atmosphere. Now comes the sieving operation. Automatically material will be distributed into some bins, and from there further process being carried out. So this particular process, spray drying, is being used for oxide, disperse, strengthened alloy, and we can observe this particular method with the help of this video. This video is possible by IEP Technologies. It is also available in YouTube. So this is this particular setup of this spray dry process. We have a spray dryer, particles will be coming, and this particle will be moving on from using this pressure valves. And we have a cyclone here, we have suppressors in which will ensure the particle movement possible, and the cyclone movement will ensure the particles is being collected properly and distributed in the dust collector, and thus the particle can be further processed. Now we have the third unit, third mixture, that is the V mixture. In the first video, second video, we can see that it is being taken from the V blender. This particular video is from YouTube, and we have two classification for this particular V mixture, that is the top bottom field as well as the side to side field. Two process can be clearly shown here, that is the top bottom field, that is we are feeding the material from the top, and this particular feeding is possible from the side, and by that mean we have two classification of the V mixtures. And moving on to the video, we can see that we have a particles of different color, that is the red as well as white, and how the mixing is possible in this V mixture. You can clearly see a homogenizing process happening in two blender of a different type, and from this video you can see that how clearly the particles being homogenized together. So as we watch this animation, so this is the real process happening in industrial scale. We have two openings, clockwise rotation fasteners are being used for opening the particular mixture, and one side is opened, and we are feeding the material and pouring the material into this particular mixture, and closing the lid again and covering it, screwing it, and make sure it's a tight fit. And same process will be repeated on the other side also. So after that, we are switching on the process. You can see the rotation happening. Ultimately, after a certain period of time, we ensure that the mix is properly homogenized, and we are stopping the machine, and then finally we are separating it out using this particular discharging valve. As we saw different type of mixture, there are many factors affecting this condition, the mixing operation, and first among that is the type of the mixture we are using. As we already gone through what is double cone as well as cylindrical and V type mixture, and what is the amount, what is the volume of the mixture, and construction material used for this particular surface finish process, and the volume ratio of the component, volume ratio of the mixture, the type of the powder and its characterizations, and the characteristic property, and the time of mixing, how much time the process is being carried out, rotational operation, and the temperature of the mixing, and the type of mixing medium, like this the wet or a dry process, the surface gravity of the component of particles, the particle size of the individual components, the particle's shape, and the particle surface condition. All these properties will be, all these characteristics will be affecting the mixing operation. So when it comes to the mechanism of mixing, we have three different types, that is convective mixing, and this process is the transfer of one group of particles from one location to another, and we have an example shown here, one, and that is a transfer of one group of particles from one location to another. So you can see that one group is changed to another location, And next is the diffusive type of mixing. It is the movement of particles onto a newly formed surface, and we have a random arrangement of particles here. That's why it's short, it termed to be as diffusive mixing. And at last we have the shear mixing, that is the deformation and formation of planes within the powders. And you can clearly see there is a different type of two planes, and this kind of mixing operation are termed to be as the shear mixing. I hope it is clearly evident from the figure. So next is the process of lubrication. And what is the need of lubrication? Lubrication is done in order to facilitate easy removal of the green compact. And as we know, the powder metallurgy is a process in which powder is being compacted, and this powder is being further moved for the sintering operation. So in the process, lubricants are added in the blend or mixing operation, which will not exceed more than 2% of the weight of the charge. And normally how these lubricants have been added, either in the form of fine powders or mixed with the metal or metal alloys. So we have two methods. And what is the function? Main function of this powder lubrications is to minimize the interparticular friction as well as friction between the powder and the die wall and the powder. And we have there will be a friction acting upon the die wall as well as the powder, and this will cause hindrance for the removal, and we have to get rid of this particular friction. And this is the main function for the lubricants. Lubrication process will also ensure that there is a controlled porosity in the finished product. So what is the reason if you are not using a proper lubrication in our process is that without lubrication, the pressure necessary to eject the compact from the die would be very high, and which will lead to cracking of the compact. And we have a commonly used lubricants like zinc stearate, stearic acids, and lithium stearate, and synthetic waxes can be used as the common lubricants. As we discussed in the previous slides, there are certain impurities in our powder, and among that, the most common are the gases entrapped in the powder. And these gases have been entrapped because of the process like atomization, and we have to make sure that we have to get rid of these particular gases, dissolved gases such as the hydrogen and oxygen from the powder. And in order to do that, we go for the heat treatment process, and the heat treatment is normally done before mixing and blending operation. And this is considered to be as the preliminary heat treatments. And some of the important objective of the heat treatment are improve the purity of the powder. That is, whenever we get rid of the contaminants or the impurities from the powder, the quality normally increases, and thus improving the purity of the powder. A typical case in the reduction of surface oxides from the powder by annealing in hydrogen or other reducing atmosphere. And we have the process of annealing of powder, normally done before the pressing of pressure, in order to remove the dissolved gases such as other impurities. So from this particular concept, we can finally ended up in a particular condition like all the heat treatment process should be done under a protective atmosphere like the hydrogen or under vacuum. This will ensure that the final product of powder we are getting is of high purity. So there is another objective for this heat treatment of powders, that are the improving the softness of the powder as well as modification of the powder characteristics. The powders are normally invariably get work hardened during the processes, and we have to make sure that the powder are annealed usually in a reducing atmosphere. And this annealing is done in a regular sintering type furnaces, and the temperature usually kept at low to avoid fusion of the particles. So annealing will ensure pure purity of the powder by reducing the unwanted impurities. And normally this is carried out in furnaces at a temperature kept very low, very lower melting point temperature, and make sure that the fusion of the particles is not happening, because fusion is happening in sintering operation, not in the previous operations. And then comes the modification of the powder characteristics. For example, the apparent density of the powder can be modified to a higher degree or a higher value by altering the temperature of the process, temperature of the treatment. And this particular treatment result in changing in the pressure needed for the compaction. By ensuring the density and apparent density, we can change the pressure required for the compaction, and all this happening because of heat treatment process. So that comes the coating of the metal powder. Normally we have the electron deposition process where we have an electrolytic cell. By control variables like voltage, time and bath conditions, we can have a uniform coating. This is normally done, but we have a different type of process called electrode coating, normally used for reducing agents for coating metal powder, techniques for coating of metal powders, and best example is coating of cobalt layers on the tungsten carbide particles by ball milling. And this is a process where powders and metal powders are used for coating. A typical example of this particular process is that the sodium borohydride for coating of nickel powder. And the main advantage of by doing this process is that there is a uniform coating. We can ensure that, and with reduced porosity and ability to coat any type of wide varieties of materials like the metals, ceramics as polymer. Whereas in the electron deposition we have only conductive materials, whereas in this process electrode coating we can make sure that it is being coated over ceramics as well as polymer. What the difficult part is, or disadvantage of this particular process is that difficult to process control as well as the high cost and slower deposition rate. So these are termed to be as the disadvantage of this particular coating process. So when it comes to pyrophoricity of the powders, that is the susceptibility of the metal powder to rapidly get oxidized. This particular property depends upon the chemical and the physical characteristics of the powder, such as the composition size and surface area. Powders of aluminum, iron and magnesium are normally considered to be as high pyrophoric in nature, that is the material which will rapidly oxidize, whereas the powders of copper and tungsten are considered to be as not even pyrophoric. Even in the smaller size, it is not even pyrophoric. So as we studied in chemistry, in order to make sure a flame is being generated, there is a need of ignition as well as oxygen. So there are certain metals which does not require oxygen to burn, and this particular material can be considered to be as more pyrophoric in nature. Alkaline materials like lithium, best example, can react with water to liberate hydrogen and liberate heat in a sufficient way in order to make a massive explosion. And we can consider this particular element like lithium is considered to be more pyrophoric in nature. And we have iron and copper powder show moderate explosive nature, as well as cobalt, lead and molybdenum have shown low explosive nature. So it is necessary to follow a certain safeguard against the possible explosion process, that we should ensure that when we handle this kind of material or this kind of powder, we should ensure some safety precaution of handling the powder. So next is a major concern normally happen related with the powder, that is the toxicity of the powder. Toxicity of the powder can lead to undesirable health effects, and toxic effects can be caused due to skin contact or inhalation of this particular fine bits of powders. And powders like lead, nickel and beryllia are highly toxic in nature, while others like aluminum and irons are considerably less toxic in nature. And the effect may be varying from irritations of the eye, skins and nausea, vomiting, respiratory problems or even blood poisoning. So these are the trouble causing because of powder, and the following precaution can be mandatorily done when it comes to the handling of powder, that is the use of protective gears like gloves, respiratory mask and protective clothing and shoes can be used normally in an industry. And we can use of well ventilated storage or workplace can be used, and carefully handling and disposal of the fine effluents or the waste fluids. By doing all these particular mandatory actions, we can properly handle the powder in a better, safer manner. So what are the normal health effects if we inhale this particular powder? And now some of the terms are shown here, that is the inhalation of the fine powder or the dust may cause irritation in the upper respiratory tracts. And remedial flow actions can be taken in order to reduce this particular process, is that including moving the person for fresh air, If the victim is not breathing properly, you can give an artificial respiration process. And if the breathing is difficult, you give oxygen, and medical attention can be further done on that particular person. And moving on, we have general health effects in terms of the skin as well as the eyes. This will may cause slight irritation with the eyes. Repeated or prolonged contact with the skin may cause irritation. And we also have the remedial measures for this, that is like brushing the material off the skin and washing the skin with soap and water. So when it comes to in case of eye, immediately flushing with excess of water for at least 15 or 10 minutes. And medical attention can be given for those kind of people. And we have the last process called the ingestions, that is the amount of ingestion included to the industrial handling area is not likely to cause injuries. And toxicity of single dose orally is low, but the person must be taken to the hospital for medical treatment. So these are the normal health uh, hazardous process related with powder industry. And we have the final references. These are the references I have used for this presentation. And thank you for listening. Hope to see you guys in the next lecture. Thank you.